What's up, y'all? I'm Miss Joe. We are back with another little recap of Abbott Elementary, and I am excited because this episode was so funny to me. Like, oh my God, my boy Greg went out real sad. If y'all haven't watched it, y'all got to get on it. Y'all really do. Welcome back to AAB TV, Authentically RGB TV to be exact. Where that's the only way we know how to be. So let's get into this recap real quick. All right, y'all. So Janine is back. Yay. She's back. She is excited to be back. She's just chipper, cheerful, happy, joyous. She's back home, and I'm glad she's back home. So we see her in the beginning, getting back acclimated to Abbott. Everybody's welcoming her back. Well, pretty much everybody, because some of her favorites are just like, okay, girl, you've been back. When you said you was back at the Ava Fest, that was your first day, girl. Just cut it out. So we again, she's getting acclimated back to school. She's excited to be there. She chops it up with a couple people in the hallway, and then she is just gleaming over the fact that she's back in her classroom with her students. Little Alex is there. He said that he's happy to have her back. She says she's glad to be back. And Greg is also very excited that she comes back, and he pays her a visit in the classroom. They have a little chit chat over some markers that she borrowed at once upon a time, and he got it back. But again, he lets her know he missed her. She missed his little, friendly little knock on the door that they share with each other. And he's glad that his friend is back. And so then after that, we are in the teacher's lounge, and Jacob and Janine are talking over some coffee that she missed, but Jacob seems to feel like it's gross and it bleaches his teeth. And they overhear a conversation between Barbara and Melissa talking about a book club, and Jacob's like, what book club? Janine is like, I want to join, and they was like, no. So we end up finding out that Miss Ava, because of the summer things that she was doing and getting into books and all those type of things, she decided to have a book club, what she affectionately calls the AAB club. AARB club is like, and it's a cute little play on her name, and AARB and all that other stuff. Okay, so they are talking about the book that Barb still has not finished, by the way. But they're talking about that, and they say that it's super exclusive, but everybody seems to know about it except for Janine and Jacob. So Jacob is kind of like, and so he finds out who's in it and makes him even more perturbed. But he's not tripping. Why? Because he has a date with Mr. Avi, the paramedic that we saw a few episodes ago. And he asked Greg to join him on this particular date. They thought it would be nice to have a double date with some of their co-workers, and just see how things hit it off between the straight couple, as they said. And so he talks to Greg about it. Greg agrees, and they decide to meet up at their spot that they always go to. And when we first get a glimpse of this double date, we see Greg, and we see this lady, and she's very pretty. And she's talking about, being a paramedic. So of course we assume that this is Avi's co-worker, and she's telling him a story, and it's just like, oh my gosh, they're flirting. They seem like they actually have known each other for a long time. Up walks Jacob and Avi, who are like pleasantly pleased and surprised that they are getting along so well. They made reservations, but it's not time for them, so they had to get on a wait list at a restaurant across the street from their spot. So they decide to go in, have a couple of drinks until they get the text that their table is ready. And so everybody is going in, they're getting their drinks, the drinks are flowing, and to their surprise, they see Janine and Manny from the district. Now, I did not mention this, but in the beginning, when Janine and Greg were chit-chatting it up in the hallway or whatever, he noticed that she had some beautiful flowers on her desk, and she said it's from her friends at the district. And I was like, oh, well, that's cool. Nobody hates her because she left. And they sent her like a welcome back gift, I guess. And not Jacob, but Greg kind of was like, oh, okay, didn't think too much of it. So again, we go back to the bar, And everybody spots him, and so Jake was like, "Oh, let's go over there and speak." And Greg is like, "No, please, let's not do it. It's obvious they're on a date." And then Jake was like, "But how do you know they're on a date?" And he's like, "Just look how they're dressed. Look at his beard. Wouldn't you date a man with a beard like that? Wouldn't you like to and he's talking to his date, wouldn't you like it or find me more attractive if I had that beard?" And she's just looking at him like, well, okay, what's going on or whatever. At first it was kind of like friendly kind of like conversation, but then she started throughout the day at the bar, she started to get really ticked off, and you'll soon find out why. So as they're talking, and he's like, Jacob is like, well, let's go over there. He's like, no, they're on a date. Jacob's like, how do you know they're on a date? Avi and Olivia are saying the same thing. Just because they're co-workers, ex-co-workers or whatever, doesn't mean that, they can't hang out. It's not specifically a date, but then because Olivia is a female and she knows how we like to zhuzh it up for people that we like, she notices, as well as Greg notices, Janine's outfit, and Janine was looking good, honey. I said, all right, Miss Janine Teagues. So she is, dressed to the nines, and so that is what also sparked Greg's attention, to the point where homeboy could not even focus. He was so stuck on the fact that Janine, first of all, looked good. Second of all, that she was there with Manny, who was also a very, very, very attractive man. And so he's just like, he's shook. He don't know what to do. And Jacob is noticing the behavior, and he's trying to get him back, focused on his date, on their conversation. But like I said, he's just beside himself. He's so stuck on them that he done picked up the ketchup bottle trying to drink it. And I'm like, oh, Greg, oh, you're crumbling, sir. What's happening? What's going on? He needs some milk. So back at Abbott, we have the AARB, the Ava's Reading Bitches, I think is what it's called. I forget what the first A was for. But anyway, they are all in the gymnasium. It's Ava, Mr. Johnson, Barb, Miss Inez, the librarian. So shout out to Cree Summer for her recurring role. And who else? Mr. Morton. I think he's like the 8th grade science teacher. We haven't seen him in a minute. But he has that like hate, love, whatever relationship with everybody in the core Abbott crew. But he read the book or whatever, and so everybody's going around, they're giving their opinions on the book, they're talking about different messages they got from the book, what it's really about. And so everybody starts to discuss who would be who in this post-apocalyptic or this apocalypse time or whatever. And everybody's saying, like I said, who they would be. Everybody's telling everybody else why they wouldn't be who they say they are. It was just a lot of back and forth. And Miss Roz, or Inez, whatever you want to call her, the librarian, she was just like, this is not what the book club is normally about. You guys are going back and forth about your opinions and all that stuff. We need to get back to the basics. Let's all go off into pairs and have one-on-one discussions, because sometimes I've seen that works in other book clubs that I've been a part of or that I've led. And of course, she being the librarian, everybody decided that she should be the leader and not Ava, even though it is Ava's book club. And of course, Ava had her little comments about that. But everybody seemed to believe, that they wanted to have these different alliances. It was basically like a simulation of being in a post-apocalyptic world. And again, who would be who in that time. And everybody in the pairs are telling each other, in the other pairs, like I said, why they wouldn't be whatever they said they would, because they don't have this quality or they don't have that quality. And so it starts to become, like I said, a huge simulation, to where they take it so serious to where they formed alliances. They won't let people eat chicken, they won't let people drink water, but they're not backing down off of nothing. And Ava seems to think that she would be the best leader of this group if there was an actual, end time and apocalypse happening. And everybody's like, girl, no, you're not. You wouldn't be my leader. So then she has her ways about, manipulating the situation to make herself look good in the end, trying to prove that she could be this leader. So by the end of the night, they realize, like, hey, it's late. We need to get up out of here, right? So Mr. Johnson's like, I'm staying. Then as everybody turns, well, you know, to walk out, Mr. Morton's like, you know, he's done. He's had it up to here with it. The librarians had it up to here with it, so he leaves. They even, well, not they, but Mr. Johnson even drafted a delivery person, a food delivery person, to be in their alliance with him and Melissa. And at the end of the day, this man done mistaken the book that they read, thinking it was another book. At the end of the day, he's like, I ain't never read this book. I thought y'all was talking about something else. And he done been there that whole time. So that was pretty funny. But the whole gist of the book club, it was hilarious. And like I said, Ava had her own ways to manipulate the situation to make herself look good and make herself out to be the one that could stand the test of time, basically. And because nobody wanted that, because nobody agreed with that, they decided that they were going to stay. They wasn't even going home. And so Mel and Barb were on their way out, but again, they didn't want Ava to win, so they decided that they was going to stay. Back at this bar, I'm telling you, my mouth was just dropping. I was in literal tears watching this, y'all, because Mr. Keep It Together Greg was in shambles. Did you hear me? He was in shambles, y'all. First of all, like I said, he was so distracted he wasn't even focusing or engaging with his date. Jacob was trying to save the day and get him to snap back into reality, but he just couldn't do it. Then, out of nowhere, here come Janine's friend Erica and Janine's ex Tariq, and they're sitting with Manny and Janine. So then that makes Greg even more like, what's going on? You know, so he starts to have a whole meltdown because he's like, wait, are them two dated? Is she on a double date with her ex? Like, they cool now? What's going on? So he's just again just shook and just can't keep it together, just so distracted. And then once Jacob makes a comment or whatever, Greg tries to like snap out of it and engage with Olivia, but by this time homegirl's over it. She's just like, ugh, like you're turning me off, bro. Like, I thought we had something, but I can see something's going on here, and I would like to know. I would like to be in this conversation. I'm not invisible. Whole time, Avi's sitting there just sipping his little bird, enjoying the drama, enjoying the mess. And again, Greg is so distracted. He ends up embarrassing himself so bad that everybody in the bar is just looking at him like, sir, what's going on? And again, because Manny and Janine didn't know they were even there, they're shocked. They're surprised to see him, pleasantly surprised to see him. And so he can't do anything now but to be like, oh, hey. So it was an even more awkward moment. And then the whole time I'm like, how many birds has Mr. Gregory done had? Because he seemed a little tipsy, because it was just word vomit after word vomit just coming out. And I'm just like, he is a whole mess. So he decides to go over to the table. Everybody know I'm here now. Let's go investigate the situation. Jacob, you know, was trying to plead with him, be like, no, don't do it. Don't go over there. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't go. But he's like, no, I'm cool. I'm going. So he's going over there. He's saying what's up to Janine, saying what's up to Manny. Again, Tariq and Erica, they walk back to the table, and he's like saying what's up to them, and he's, you know, trying to pick and prod and ask questions, and some things he just flat out comes out and says. And again, that's when I thought, I was like, sir, he's out of his mind, because he don't never act like this, especially when it comes to Janine. And Janine was even looking at him like, sir, what's going on? She looked so confused at everything that was happening and the things that he was saying. And like I said, again, made everything even more awkward, more embarrassing. And come to find out, none of them were on a date. They were there to discuss the PTA. They were there to tie up loose ends with Janine about the district. And Erica and Janine looked that good that night because they were going to go to the hook bar afterwards. And I was just like, oh, wow. Now he's even more like, uh-oh. So then here comes Jacob trying to save the day again by, you know, breaking the ice and coming over like, hey, you know, and him and Greg have a little look at each other like, what? Okay, like, cool it now. And again, he lets them know, they're not on a date after all. And I was like, oh man, this is, I don't know how this is going to turn out for Mr. Gregory Eddy, because homeboy couldn't help himself. And I was just like, he loves her. He loves her. And when he had the opportunity, he didn't even go for it. And now all of a sudden, it's like, that's my woman. Why you with her? What? So now it's the next day, y'all. And the whole apocalyptic squad done fell asleep in the gym. The cafeteria worker comes. She's like, hey, what are y'all doing in here? It's Friday. The kids will be here in a minute. Y'all done fell asleep trying to outdo each other and not want to break down playing Survivor of the Fittest in the gymnasium. And I'm in here trying to get ready and warm up some toast and get the kids food together. And she notices the book that they read, and she basically lets them know the true message of the book, which they all felt like it was, who's better off than who and who could outdo who. But at the end of the day, she let them know it's not even about, everybody's strengths or whatever. It's more about being strong because y'all have diversity and what everybody can bring to the table, instead of what everybody else is lacking. And then the light bulb went out in everybody's head, and they was like, oh wow, like, I get it. Ava still had her comments about being a leader, and because she was the first one to woke up, she did it, she made it, she proved her point. So everybody's just like so in shambles still and waking up and groggy. So they walk out, and Mr. Johnson's like, so y'all just gonna leave all this mess? Y'all ain't gonna help me clean up? He's always so funny to me. Shout out to Mr. Johnson. And again, they walk, it's the next day because they went out on a Thursday, so this is Friday. They walk out, and we go to the teacher's lounge, and now there is a almost conversation about the night before with Greg and Jacob, but Janine walks in, and Janine just plays everything off like she didn't notice anything. She didn't say anything. She just said something about, a little tongue twister about, what she say, 3 teachers getting tipsy on a Tuesday, on a Thursday, and she just laughed that off and walked out. And once she walked out, Greg was like, I know. And if you watch the episode and you know all the details, then you understand like why he said that, and what the intent was behind that statement. And because Jacob was like, okay, so so what you gonna do about it? And he was like, I don't know. And again, I'm just like, what was that about? If you say you want to just be friends, but y'all, the way he was acting, it was crazy. It was so crazy. But at the end of the day, we never know what's gonna happen between them. But I just thought this episode was like, okay, what's tea? And even before, the night ended at the bar, and after Greg let he let Jacob know, and he found out that nobody was on no date. It was all just like a little hangout. He tried to make amends with Olivia, and she was just like, no. And he was just like, we would hit it off. Can I see you again? Trying to like I said, make amends and make everything better, because he just acted a complete fool. And she was like, no, unless you're hurt and I am your EMT, you ain't gonna never hear from me again, bro. And then Jacob felt like it was an embarrassment to him, and he kind of apologized for how Greg was acting. And Avi was like, oh no, this was the best date I've ever been on. Like, your friend is messy. I love it. He loved it. So they hit it off, fortunately. But unfortunately, Greg and Olivia did not, which I was just like, But anyways, y'all, that was pretty much the entire episode. And then at the end, we see that everybody's coming back from spring break. So I guess that's why we had that week off. And Greg is just brushing his face. Janine comes in and is just like, this is a jade roller. It's not necessarily a brush. And he's like, oh, well, I'm doing it because me and Jacob decided that we were going to grow our beards out over spring break. Remember, he mentioned something about Manny's beard and how his beard like a man that somebody would be attracted to. So I was like, is that why he trying to grow his beard out? But then, of course, as everybody often does, they throw jokes at each other, and everybody was letting him know, like, boy, what beard is growing from your face? We don't see not one piece of hair growing on the side. And he's just like, y'all don't know nothing about it. You can't grow a beard overnight. It's been a week. Like, it's a marathon or whatever. No, not a marathon. He said something about it's not a marathon. It's whatever. Basically, what he was trying to say, because I can't get it right at this time. What he was trying to say was that it takes a while. He ain't trying to rush it. But then in comes Jacob with a full beard singing a Freeway song. If y'all know who Freeway is, he's a rapper from Philadelphia. And it was so cute. I was like, oh my God, look at Jacob with the red ginger beard. He looks so handsome. And he came in like, Greg, what happened to your beard? And then it was just like, Greg was just like, ah, man, forget it. And then the episode cut out. Because, of course, Jacob's beard grew like that. It's like it's like, to me, he's still the Everybody Hates Chris character, where it's like, he's a good guy, he's lovable, he's likable, but he still gets overshadowed by certain things, and he still got that goofiness to him or whatever. But y'all, it was even points in this episode where, like, I could tell that Greg wanted to break character or smile or laugh, but he did a really good job controlling himself. I love the show. So y'all, as I always say, that was the recap. I'll be trying to keep it 20 minutes or under. I'm definitely probably gonna rewatch this episode because it was so funny, and I just loved the focus on Greg and this meltdown. Y'all, do y'all think he was a little tipsy, a little drunk, or was it nerves? What was it? Because he was in shambles, and I watched the episode during while I was at work during nap time, y'all, and I was trying so hard not to wake them kids up by laughing. And when he picked up the ketchup bottle, I lost it because I was like, oh, homeboy is pissed. But yeah, y'all, that was the episode. Thank you guys for always watching, and the viewers and subscribers. Thank you so much. You do not have to watch it, but you do. You do not have to come to my channel, but you do. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Peace.